So in today's episode, I speak with Rohit Khanna of Smarsh, and this episode is specifically made in partnership with Salesforce. So I hope everyone enjoys the episode, and I'll let it roll.
From a customer experience perspective, why is it called Archie?
Customers who are connecting with us, they have to log in through an ID and password. After authentication, we now know that, hey, Rohit is connecting with Archie. Along with Archie's personalization and our authentication of our users is just a perfect fit of this AI experience. In my opinion, as we go further, we would have AI agents governing itself. If this is the agent for outside consumption, this is the agent for compliance and governance, so checking all the time. That is the counterproductive of the whole AI promise.
You quite often hear the ideas of agentic enterprises, AI companies. What do you think of Smarsh moving into the next 5-10 years? How would you define them? What's the mission?
Yeah, good question. So,
All right, Rohit, welcome to the podcast.
thank you. Thank you very much for the invitation.
I appreciate it. I want to jump straight into things by understanding a little bit more about who you are, what you do in the company. So when we're talking about Smarsh, I was wondering if you can give me the elevator pitch. What problem does Smarsh solve for?
Sure. No, that's a great way to start. First of all, again, thanks a lot for inviting me to your wonderful podcast. I'm a big fan. So with that said, let me start. My name is Rohit Khanna. I am the Chief Customer Officer for Smarsh. I've been here about almost 6 years now and have seen the tremendous growth which Smarsh has gone through. As a Chief Customer Officer, I manage, run, lead all post-sales activities, which includes our consulting, our migrations, our customer support, global support. We have follow the sun model. Then we have our what we call value-added modules, which is a custom development team. Also run the managed services team, and lastly, Smarsh University. So that's what's under my run. Now, as far as Smarsh is concerned, Smarsh was founded almost about 20 years back. We are in compliance business. What we do is we do surveillance and compliance for e-communication and voice communication for regulated industries. So every bank, every financial institutions all around the world is regulated by the regulators who define the laws around archiving and surveilling the e-communications, electronic communications, or voice communications, and keeping it for e-discovery needs for later down the road lawsuits, etc. And there are laws all around the world. For example, in the United States, and so we have to keep the data almost about for 7 years. So I often say we are the custodial of electronic and voice communication for our customers, and while we are archiving that data, we are also surveilling and making sure that there's no misconduct in that data. And for that misconduct and surveillance, we use AI quite heavily. We have been in the AI space almost about 5 years now. And recently, almost about 12 months back, we started using Gen AI. We still have our own models, and we now also use agents. And we call them intelligent agents in the compliance space.
Yeah, I think with this, I was doing some research on you beforehand, and something I picked up on, something you said, Smarsh innovates AI from the inside out. I was wondering if you can kind of unpack what exactly that means. How does your approach to building AI differ from other companies in the compliance space?
A good question. So, look, we have been, like I said, we have been in the AI space for almost about 5 years. We acquired a company called Digital Reasoning. And Digital Reasoning was very well known in AI space, creating their own misconduct models in the surveillance space in the regulated industry. So almost about 3 years back, we said, okay, we have to redo, and now that Gen AI is coming over. So everything which was developed around the surveillance space, around that misconduct space was developed in-house by Smarsh. call it the compliance models. As for example, we have um, market manipulation models, as opposed to general purpose models. These are specific models created for financial crime. Like I said, market manipulation, or even harassment, sexual harassment models, change of venue models. So all these models are created inside Smarsh, and then we employ them uh, with our agentic workflows. And we started that some time back. And that was delivered over to our customers as a solution. Above and beyond that, we also utilized agents or AI agents for internal customer support, case generation, and case response. When I say case, these are tickets. These are customer support tickets when our customer calls us. And then finally, this year, we rolled out our external AI agent for basically our customers to converse with. Okay, so to respond to your question, inside out, yeah, we develop our own AI tech and we sell it to our customers. We also employ other vendors' tech. For example, Salesforce, in this case, their AI agent for our customer support to connect, as we are on Service Cloud and Experience Cloud from Salesforce.
Yeah, I'd really love to double down on that approach, because you've got these proprietary AI models yourself, and then you're working and partnering with companies like Salesforce too. So I'm kind of curious from your perspective, how do you decide when to partner versus when to build? And what does that kind of complementary approach enable?
Yeah. So, like I said, there are general purpose AI models, which are very, very good. Whether it's OpenAI, Anthropic, or whatever Salesforce uses, because we are a Salesforce shop. We use Service Cloud for our ticketing, and whatever models they use, those are general purpose models. And then we know for sure, as industry is evolving, general purpose models are good, but for specific need, you need, um, call it not large language model, but medium language models or small language models, which are specific for a use case. Example, Smarsh creates what I would call a medium language models for financial crime. Okay, so again, and my prediction may be wrong, but as we are evolving in this AI space, more and more, I'm getting convinced that for richer, non-hallucinated responses and value, we will need specific use case models, like we have in compliance space. And the general purpose models will be used for general prompt and answers, and specific industry models going to be used for industry specific use cases.
Mm. I'm wondering if you can kind of double tap into those different use cases. I know, for example, when we're talking about Agentforce, you're kind of utilizing them for customer service operations. I was wondering if you can kind of tell me a bit more about that experience and what the process has been like.
Yeah, definitely. So let me kind of give you a history. About last year, when my team and I attended uh, the Salesforce Dreamforce, we kind of got introduced to the new Agentforce as they rolled it out. It was premature, I would say, in the market at that time. Agentforce was not ready yet, but we knew this is the way to go, because every meetings AI is being talked about, and even in the board meetings, my board members ask me the question: so, how are you gonna use AI, and how will you be more efficient and productive from a customer support perspective utilizing AI? So that got me taken, and it was just perfect timing. Agentforce was just being rolled out, so we worked with Salesforce team to do a proof of concept in Q1 of this year, to really understand, what are the areas which we need to think about. And can we really get efficiencies and productivity out of AI agent? Now, I'll tell you, often say that in every interview, we got lucky. How? Because about 4 years back, we embarked on a technology, AI-based technology, not Gen AI, but AI-based technology to create knowledge base articles. And these creation of knowledge base articles was mainly used for uh, um, questions and answers for self-service model for our customers. Okay, so when they were logging into our support portal, we had question and answers, um, and we also had a process in place at the background for checking those answers. I have about a couple hundred support reps all over the world, and they look at these answers to make sure yes they're correct or wrong, and they rate it, and then it gets published. So we have been doing it for almost about 4 years, and then we fast forward when we were rolling out AI agent, we found out that what, we got lucky because of this data. We got lucky because we have been creating this knowledge base for a long time. So the AI agent was learning just not from a general purpose model, but it was also learning from our specific knowledge base, because it's very, very critical as we are providing technical support on our own products. Okay. So that knowledge base and that data was critical for us to roll out. And hence, we completed our POC within 3 months, and we went production April of this year in the second quarter with the service agent, which was provided by Salesforce. Now, there were challenges. Okay, I can tell you. However, Salesforce team worked very, very closely with us to mature the tech. Where at this particular point, I like to say it's rolled out and it's very successful. And you may have heard, we call our agent Archie. We named the agent Archie, and that's another story. Maybe let's talk about that. And that since we named it, the adoption has gone way up. Where at this particular point, I can confidently tell my board members that we are able to get efficiency and productivity for almost about 20%. So last year, for example, actually this 2025 fiscal year, I have not hired any level 1 support rep at all. Everything is now answered for level 1 by Archie. And if Archie cannot answer any question, Archie connects with a live agent, and then live agent, we have a very, very high deflection rate now. Actually, we have reached now, my team just reported 56% deflection rate, where 56% of the time, Archie is answering the questions rather than level 1 reps. Now, we have not let go our level 1 reps yet, but we are not hiring. As we are growing, we are not hiring them. So I know it's a long answer to your short question about, but I hope that kind of gave you an idea of the history and the context and why, and what we are doing with service agents.
Yeah. Something you mentioned in there is you place importance on the fact that you named it Archie, right? And I think what that raises in me is this balance of results between quantitative results and qualitative results, right? So, for example, I've seen that you're expecting 20% increase in self-service success, 25% faster resolutions, 30% boost in productivity. So I was wondering if you can talk me through those numbers, and also from a customer experience perspective, what does that feel like? Why is it called Archie?
I said this was a learning we had. So when we rolled out our service agent, the adoption rate was not as high. And I kept on asking my team, why is it? No, kind of give you a background. So we used to use chatbot before, and we replaced the chatbot with Archie. Now, it was not called as Archie before. Like I said, it was just rolled out as, hey, here is our AI agent. It's in beta, and start interacting. But there was, we have over 25,000 customers, users in the end, and we were not seeing a lot of uptake or adoption. Now, it just happened, and thanks to my team, they came up with this idea. They said, you know what if we personalize Archie so that people are not confused about it's a chatbot or not, or we don't have to say it's an AI or not. It's a personalized agent. And people can refer to it. Hey, Archie answered me that question. I couldn't, you know, understand that answer. So can you explain me? So such reference, um, call it personalization of that AI agent. As soon as we personalized that agent, suddenly the adoption went up. Okay. And we saw, I mean, the graph was really, way up. And we asked our customers why, and they said, look, we could relate. We could relate to Archie. And one of the best things you guys also did was you gave a personality, an image to our Archie. So this way we knew who we are talking to rather than just a box where we're writing our prompts. So that was a big learning for us. And what we did then, we actually created, which I jokingly call Archie's sister. We called it Emma. So for our internal purposes, for our technical support reps, when they do not have an answer to a question and they want the agent to crawl inside our knowledge base to get the answer, now they can connect with Emma and get the same experience. Now, talking about customer experience, I hope you can kind of relate to now that the customer experience went up with personalization. It was very binary. It was question and answer before, but now the chat is happening. And by the way, because we are in compliance industry, customers who are connecting with us, they have to log in through an ID and password. So we have to authenticate them because again, it's compliance regulation. So after authentication, we now know, right, that hey, Rohit is connecting with Archie. Okay. So the next time when Rohit comes over, log in, authenticate, Archie says, hey, Rohit, how are you doing? And by the way, I hope you resolve the last issue. How can I help you now? And here is the beauty is, because of our knowledge base article, we knew because we were doing what we call recommended. Hey, you asked me this, so maybe your problem is this. That kind of recommendation engine we used to have. So now Archie is using the recommendation engine and say, so Rohit, looks like you resolved that problem. Do you have this problem, or that problem? Because that's what I'm seeing with others. If not, tell me more. Okay. So that is really giving a great experience to the customer because now we are thinking ahead. Okay. Because, it's like, you're driving a car and you turn right. We now know that the next traffic light, right, there's only one way. So we can give advance notice to our customers. Hey, you're going that direction. Now you can either, go right or left because there's only one way. So that has the recommendation engine along with Archie's personalization and our authentication of our users is just a perfect fit of this AI experience. And we are getting unbelievable, again, what I call feedback from our customers and our internal agents because they use Emma now.
I think something that comes to mind for me when we're talking about this is the idea of trust. With everything that you're doing with personalization, with humanizing the agent as well, like you're really building trust back and forth. And there's two things I'm curious about. One, you talked about the idea of personality, like a personality for this agent. When we're in an industry like this, financial services, everything has to kind of adhere to very strict regulatory requirements. So I'm wondering how that personality comes back and forth. And also, when we're talking about this industry in general, how hard is it to roll out something across this knowledge base and make sure it has the right guardrails on it?
Excellent. Brilliant question, by the way. I'm so glad you asked it. So that is correct. So we are in the regulated industry. So we have to be very, very careful in what we are answering to our customers because, again, these are large financial institutions all around the world. Smarsh have majority share of financial industry, including the largest financial institutions. Come to think about it, right now I'm in Singapore currently, and visiting our financial institution here. So look, one of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest boundaries we had was to make sure that Archie is answering questions in the right manner and giving the right information and data to our customers. So the human in the loop was very, very important. And I jokingly always told my team, and also many interviews I do, is, our Archie is a teenager. And what you do with teenagers, so both of my kids are in college now, but I'll tell you, when teenagers are teenagers, they get drunk, and that sometimes they get their DUI. So you just got to be around them to make sure that they are not getting drunk. So when I say getting drunk, is an analogy which I have for hallucination. So AI agents do hallucinate. That's why you need adult supervision around, like you have teenagers, adult supervision around agents for some time until they are gone out of the house, until they're in college. I say our Archie is just getting out to college now. We still have human in the loop. We still have people, almost about 9 people now, who check all the time. Is Archie's answers correct? Is all the data which Archie is giving right, accurate, and compliant? Now, we were struggling with one thing, which is AI agent can go inside and crawl, look at all your data, and has potential to give information. And we found that out later, which should not be given. And it's not for customer consumption. Okay? Because as you know, in every company, you have internal information, and then you have external information for customer consumption. So in the initial days, we were spending a lot of time in correcting Archie. But later, I'm so glad, and this is the right thing to do. Salesforce, for example, came up with data governance layer. The data governance layer is now you can have policy management and policy tools and policy workflows around which data to render, which data with Archie can talk about and which data cannot. So you can actually stop the data or information which you do not want Archie to give. So that has helped quite a lot in automating. Otherwise, what was happening was um, my team was asking me to expand the HITL team, the human in the loop team, and that was counterproductive, right? Which I promised the board that, hey, AI will help in gaining efficiency and productivity. But now my team is saying, no, not really, because we need to govern the data or information which Archie is giving. So with this data governance layer now, which is very, very critical, by the way, it's not just compliance. I think, in my opinion, every company have to have a data governance layer to make sure, and data policy management to make sure that right kind of data is given to right kind of people, and the right kind of data is being rendered and captured by the AI agent to learn from. Okay, so the data governance and policy management, once we employed that, we are seeing that we do not need that many people. We actually now need, although I still have adult supervision. I still have those people currently, but I can see as we go into the next year, I don't have to expand the HITL team. If Archie learns and does right, I may be able to bring the HITL team down rather than expand it.
Yeah, it's curious. I had a conversation with Anton Dam from Audit Board recently, and he said a very similar thing, that we're currently in a stage of human in the loop, and we might, through agentic functions, move into a space where we're kind of human above the loop. We have all these agents kind of working with each other, and then you have someone with that accountability that's checking it in the end. And that kind of leads on to my next question for you is, this is very much the first iteration of implementing this. This is stage 1. This is phase 1. What does phase 2 look like? What does phase 3 look like?
Yeah. You just I was just going to say something, and I'm so glad you asked this question because I was going to say the answer to your question. So I'm glad you asked. And by the way, I do not know your question, so for the audience, this is not made up. So what's next phase? I think the agentic workflows, in my opinion, they would be a agent in the loop rather than human in the loop. In my opinion, as we go further, we would have agents, AI correcting itself, um, AI agents governing itself. Um, where every time, because once agents learn what's right, what's wrong, fundamentally, and I do not know how, and I do not know when, but I think it's coming, which is once the data governance is done, once the data policy management is done, now you have agentic workflows connected with MCP protocols and whatnot. Now you have agents governing other agents to make sure if this is the agent for outside consumption, this is the agent for compliance and governance, so checking all the time. Is this right? Is this right? Is this right? Right? Because as we expand the agentic workflows, we don't want this situation where now we have humans. We're hiring humans to govern agents, and then suddenly we have more humans or than agents. That is the counterproductive of the whole AI promise. So AI governing AI. I think that's where I see this going. Tomorrow, now I don't have an answer to that question. How and when?
Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's a matter of making sure the knowledge is right and making sure it doesn't hallucinate. The reason that we have a human in a loop is that we trust them enough with the knowledge that they have to say, yes, put a stamp on it, this information is correct and adheres to all the rules and regulations. It's theoretically possible that we can build an agent that has a greater knowledge base and hallucinates less than the human. And once we can be assured that that accountability is there, then we're on the right space for agents governing other agents.
And the time is coming. The time at the actually, and you raise a very good point around trust. I think the trust factor is going up. I tell you, some of us, and I am dating myself, when I was in 96, 97 timeframe, we used to go and tell the banks and financial institutions that, hey, you can trust internet. It's okay to send the payment, the enough encryption technology, etc. I feel like we are in the same boat, maybe not 96, but I think 98, 99, where we are giving confidence to rest of the world that, this tech is here to stay. This tech will produce productivity and efficiency. And yes, people's job will change, and everybody have to kind of evolve as a humankind to do better, bigger, more valuable work around the agentic, around agents and agentic workflows, which can be mundane work. Okay, so are the all answers there? No, not currently. I think we are all, as a humankind, evolving and trying to understand what's next. How do we evolve with this agentic workflows, with agents running around in 12 months, 24 months? How will people's job change? Okay, so and that is one of the biggest worries I have. And I mean, if you ask me, where do I spend most of my time? I think the tech does not worry me, or where the tech is going does not, because we will, as in tech industry, we will figure this out. What worries me is human psychology. What worries me is what is my team of 200 support people and another 200 in services? What are they thinking from unemployment, employment perspective? How should we raise their competency level so they don't feel right? Their jobs are gone and they don't create inertia in running or employing these agents. And this is why now we have a big initiative inside our team globally. And I have, global centers in Philippines and India and Belfast and Costa Rica, and all over the US, UK. And we have a global initiative going on is how can you raise your competency? How can you become level 2, level 3, level 4, or what we call business critical support reps, right? Rather than just picking up the phone and answering the question. So fundamentally, I think the customer service industry is changing itself. And And I have been going all around the world in my COEs and inspiring our young folks who are coming in level 1 support and saying, look, gone are the days when, or very soon, the days are gone when you are just there to answer a question. Okay, you will have to get your competency level to the next level so that you're now solving complex, complicated problems, which a AI agent is not able to do. So that's what worries me the most is the human psychology.
I want to bring this entire conversation we're having into land a little bit. What you're describing there is this idea of empowering individuals to do more creative things, and to not be simple retrieval of information. And I'm curious how this fits into your image of Smarsh as a company and how the leadership thinks of Smarsh as a company. You quite often hear the ideas of agentic enterprises, AI companies. What do you think of like Smarsh moving into the next 5-10 years? How would you define it? What's the mission?
I'm glad we are landing the plane with Smarsh, because I know that I'm employed by Smarsh. So, look, we have already rolled out our intelligent agents and our deep search agents for compliance space. Give you an example. I'll give you a use case for audience to really understand what I'm talking about. So, because we're in compliance space, um, our when we are archiving large amount of electronic and voice communication in archive, we are looking for misconduct inside. We or our financial industry. A lot of financial institutions all around the world, they employ thousands of people, offshore, onshore, to look for that needle in the haystack, to look for that communication between Rohit and Sam or Rohit and someone else to see, was there a misconduct? Am I doing insider trading, right? But that communication can happen, and there are a lot of false positive in that communication while it's happening. For example, I may say something to Sam, who's my colleague, and say, hey, don't tell anyone, but let's talk about it outside in cafe. Now, that can be read by a human. Hold on, there is something wrong here. They are talking about something, but they don't want to talk about in online channel. They want to talk in offline channel. So that raises an alert. That's called as false positive in our industry. Now, thousands of hours and millions of dollars are spent in dealing with this false positive. Now, with AI and our compliant agents, we can very fast go through terabytes and petabytes of data and not create false positive and have contextual knowledge of, is this correct or not? No, they just want to talk about colleague's birthday outside. So all that context is created now cross communication, okay, which was not possible before because again, now machines are checking this pattern rather than humans are checking the pattern. So Smarsh is in the forefront in creating these intelligent agents and giving these intelligent agents to our financial institutions so that they can get more risk coverage with less cost. Okay, more risk, and that's what regulators are looking for. They're saying, you know what, today you are supervising, surveying 3 or 4 or 5% or maybe 10% of the data, because data is, we would like you to supervise majority of the data, but that can be only possible by AI. So now, if you can supervise all that data, your risk coverage is going up, and you're not employing people, you're employing machines to do it. So our financial institutions are really, really behind it, have embraced it. Like I said, I'm here in Singapore. We are rolling out one of those projects here with the large institutions here in Singapore and financial institution in Singapore, intelligent agents doing compliance work, right? For banks utilizing purpose-built models for compliance. Okay. And that is where Smarsh is. We are not just a conversation summary agent. We are providing a lot of domain-specific work. Like our deep search agent goes into large amount of corpus of data and finds out, hey, what was the discussion between Lian and Rohit 3 years back? Was there a misconduct? right? Or if a Department of Justice, DOJ, and or any judge is looking for a certain data and conversation between Liam and Rohit 10 years back, right? You're going to need paralegals and legal lawyers spending millions of dollars to find the data, reading the data. Now our deep search agent can go and find all the data and summarize it and say, this is what happened between Liam and Rohit 10 years back, okay? And this is some misconduct, which I see and give a risk factor to it. Our financial institutions love this because now they can save so much money with attorneys and lawyers. So I hope I gave you a use case and what Smarsh is doing and how we are leading this charter and with AI.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful way to finish off. Rohit, I want to thank you for your time. I really appreciate you. I know that you're in the Singapore airport right now. You're flying about and you've carved out 30 minutes for me. So I really appreciate your time.
Absolutely. A pleasure. Pleasure. Awesome. Thank you very much. And again, I'm a fan of your podcast and keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.